In this presentation, I will be discussing police brutality and what the reality of police brutality and racial bias is and how they correlate together. So, the reason I was interested in this topic was because throughout the years, this has been increasing by a large amount, especially with gun violence happening so often. And as you can see here, this is a calendar of all the dates of last year. The red boxes represent 3 or more people who were killed by police. And as you can see, there's only 14 white boxes, which represent the days that nobody was murdered or killed. On a more recent note, this is a map of the United States. The red dots represent where somebody was killed by the use of police force. And something that was very shocking to me, as you can see, was that at least every state has 1 dot. And this is just as recent as of March 19, 2018. This all led me to develop my research question, which is, to what extent do negative altercations of police force correlate with racial disparities? My argument is that police officers are more likely to use force on someone who is of color than someone who is white. And then I used this article from the stimulus packet on attitudes towards Muslim women. And a quote that specifically stuck out to me, which helped me with my research, was this one. Plastering neat culture icons like the Muslim women over messier historical and political narratives won't get you anywhere. A little context behind this quote is just talking about how they're using the fact that Muslim women need saving to cover up, or mostly really to the extent of what happened with 9/11. This also relates, as you will see in later slides, how people normally don't see different points of view when it comes to police force. Mostly they just focus on the ethics of it, and really there's more points of view, as you will see later on. The other one was this historian as a participant. And this one, the quote that stuck out to me the most was this one. It says, "The insight generated by participation is not confined to perceptions and interpretations of specific episodes." Again, this also relates a little bit to how there's different perceptions of different topics, and how you'll see when it comes to police brutality, there's So, to start you off, I will talk to you about Philip Goff. So Philip Goff published a study to the Journal of Personality and Social Physiology. In this study, his researchers showed police officers a group of images of young boys of different races, and they asked the police officers to estimate the age of each boy and who was more likely to have committed more crimes. The results, again, were surprising. The results were that black boys were also more likely to be perceived as guilty in an encounter of police violence. They said that the black boys, even the ones as young as 10 years old, seemed older than the white ones, who were also perceived as more innocent. And then also, an independent analysis of a study by Washington Post data on police killings found that black African Americans who are fatally shot by the police are less likely to have actually been showing an imminent fatal threat, as opposed to white men who were also fatally shot who were actually showing a fatal. And my counter-argument is that several people actually believe that what the police are doing is ethical because it falls under deontology, and deontology which means their duty or obligation to follow the law, which would be at all costs, therefore cops are innocent. And to this I say that this is a possible solution would be stricter policies. And As you can see right here, even a simple warning before shooting can lower the rates of death by 5%, even a simple warning. So to this I say, stricter policies help reduce the rate of death greatly. In conclusion, police officers are more inclined to use force on African Americans and other people than who are white. With the use of stricter policies, the number of killings would lower greatly. And these are my sources.
All right, so let me ask you a few questions. Explain your level of certainty that you have about your conclusion, or your solution, or your recommendation.
I'm very certain about my conclusion. I firmly believe that with stricter rules, as you could see in the presentation, even a simple warning before getting shot actually lowers the rate of death by 5%. With this included, if all police departments established this more strictly everywhere around the country, it would also lower.
Okay. So, what evidence did you gather that you didn't use, and why didn't you use it?
There was evidence where in previous years like I believe it was 5 years ago, there was this evidence that it was actually 5% more that white people were actually killed more than the black people. And I said not to use it because it still proved that black people were more often killed, because the ratio between the number of white people living in America to the number of black people living in America just didn't correlate, and so it wasn't just factual to say that white people were killed more often, since there's more white people who live in America than black.
All right. Thank you, Samantha.